Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, it's November 16th, 2023. It's the anniversary of the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we're here with about 25 Prabhus or so in person. And here online we have a contingent from New Zealand, Bhakti Marg and Atmananda Prabhus, and a contingent from Pensacola, Bhakti George, Bhakti Danielle Prabhus. Hare Krishna, thanks for joining us in glorifying Srila Prabhupada. So I'm going to read something and then we can enter into discussion. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, entitled Karanjana Becomes a Woman in the Next Life. Everything's there in the Bhagavatam. We can just, a lot of transgender stuff in the Bhagavatam. It's just there, and it's actually, it's like, there's a lot of stuff like that in the Bhagavatam in its pure original form. So it's not like, oh, there's something really new happening. No, it's all there in the Bhagavatam in its pure form. It's really true. And it's like, just like more far out in a transcognitive way than we can even imagine with what we get on the news. Okay, so that's actually the title. I didn't make that up. That's actually the title of the chapter. Ranjana becomes a woman in his next life. So why would Dhira Govinda Das choose something like that for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day? Stay tuned to this channel and we'll see. So this is text 48 of chapter 28, Canto 4. I'll just read the Sanskrit. And some of you might already be familiar with this purport. Utishto tishta rajarshe imamudadi mekalam dasyubhya kshatra bandhubhyo bibhyatim patumarhasi. Translation: O best of kings, please get up, just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Whenever an acharya comes following the superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. Religion means abiding by the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Religious principles begin from the time one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the Acharya's duty to spread a bona fide religious system and induce everyone to bow down before the Supreme Lord. One executes the religious principles by rendering devotional service, specifically the 9 items like hearing, chanting, and remembering. Unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. Actually, human life is meant for executing the orders of the Supreme Lord, and this is stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 34. Manmana bhavaman bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamedeshasi yuktvevam atmanam mat parayana. Quote, engage your mind always in thinking of me and become my devotee. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. The main business of human society is to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all times, to become his devotees, to worship the Supreme Lord, and to bow down before him. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles. But when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to leave. The perfect disciples of the Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. At the present moment, practically the entire world is afraid of rogues and non-devotees. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is started to save the world from irreligious principles. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. Let's read that last sentence again. Everyone should cooperate with this movement in order to bring about actual peace and happiness in the world. Om Ganatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurvanmilitam Lena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddhapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shra Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Badan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpati Yubhyashcha Kripa Sindhu Vyeva Cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Sarasvati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and then to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesh Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 Chapter 28 Text 48 Utistoshtishta Rajashe Imamudadi Mekalam Dashubhya Kshatra Bandhubhyo Bibhyatim Patum Arhasi. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. Hare Krishna. So it's Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. Srila Prabhupada uses the term the Acharya that when the Acharya disappears. So disappear, it's like a technical term. We could say death, we could say birth, but we use the term appearance and disappearance, indicating it's not a function of the modes of nature, right? Like according to our desires and our attachment to Yantra Mudani Maya, then we're born and then we die, and the modes of nature. So for Sri Krishna, God, and his pure representatives like Srila Prabhupada, Jesus, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, it's a choice. It's a choice to appear and disappear. That's why to hear about the disappearance pastime, it's transcendentally purifying. Of course, there's different moods for the pastimes. We can hear about Srila Prabhupada dancing ecstatically at Ratha Yatra, getting up at 1 a.m. to give us his purports, his appearance pastime, his letters. So there's different moods. At the same time, it's all transcendentally purifying, unlike any mundane story of birth, death, romance like that. Okay, so we're talking about, like the disappearance of the Vapu. Vapu means the physical presence of Srila Prabhupada. At the same time, I want to get more technical than that, because we'll often hear Srila Prabhupada's available through his Vani, his instructions, but no longer through his Vapu, his physical presence. So that's not true. That's not true. So Mother Malini is pointing to the altar. Right. So if we think, oh yeah, he's available through his books and his instructions, but not through his Vapu, then the question is there. Then what are we doing with Srila Prabhupada's picture on the altar or his Morti? If he's not present, then that's called idol worship. That's called idol worship. And I did not grow up in a particularly spiritual, very nice upbringing, nice parents and all that, but not particularly spiritual or religious. But the one thing we learned, like, you don't worship idols. Okay, so we know Srila Prabhupada did not engage us in idol worship. So that's why, more technically, we can say today's the anniversary of the disappearance of, I'll call it, the pre-November 14th, 1977 Vapu form. Okay, to get technical. And the pre-November 14th, 1977 Vapu form. And Srila Prabhupada is fully present in his Vapu forms, in his pictures, in his Mortis, and in his Vani forms. So Srila Prabhupada is fully present, fully available. We were just having, say, with Bhaktidevan just a few days ago at Gordon Damayanti Prabhu's program. We're having that. Okay, so this so that my mission in life, is to encourage persons to connect with Srila Prabhupada as their current, direct, living, current link to Sri Krishna's parampara, which means disciplic succession. And so the emphasis in our discussion with Bhaktidevan was, this is a personal thing, because we can say Prabhupada's the founder Acharya. We can say he's an Acharya, he's an empowered Shaktivesh avatar. Yes, 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 yes. Same time, sometimes they can become, it can become perceived through our conditioning as like a title or something. And so that's why, like, my endeavor is to support people to develop and establish their personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada as the most important person in their life in the most personal way. It's the Vaishnava from whom they receive the most direct personal Divya Gyan, which means Diksha. We sing Divya Gyan, Ride Prokashitu. I mean, Srila Prabhupada equates that Divya Gyan with Divya Gyan is Diksha. In some circles say, well, Srila Prabhupada can give Siksha, but not Diksha. Then how come you're singing Divya Gyan Ride Prokashita? 38 years, haven't gotten an answer to that question yet, so just don't ask it. There you go. So Srila Prabhupada, Diksha means the transformational, transcendental knowledge that transforms the consciousness. And so that's my endeavor, to support people to connect with Srila Prabhupada in that way. So this purport, this is a quintessential disappearance pastime purport. And so so personally, what happens when I'm reading this verse in purport, and so I'll share personally, and I'll be glad to hear from others. All right. So unfortunately, when the Acharya disappears, rogues and non-devotees take advantage and immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles in the name of so-called swamis, yogis, philanthropists, welfare workers, and so on. All right. So easy enough to point the finger on that one. And so I'm endeavoring to look at, all right, where and how in the name of representing Prabhupada, where and how am I being one of those rogues and non-devotees? I find this to be a difficult and productive question. Srila Prabhupada goes on in the purport. The Acharya, the authorized representative of the Supreme Lord, establishes these principles But when he disappears, things once again become disordered. The perfect disciples of the Acharya. What a phrase there. The perfect disciples of the Acharya. So we get to, oh, this one's not a perfect, they're not perfect disciples. Okay, and there could be validity there. But then where am I? Where am I in relation to that standard that Prabhupada's giving us? Where am I in relation to the perfect disciple standard of excellence that Prabhupada's gently, lovingly wanting from us? The perfect disciples of the Acharya tried to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instructions of the spiritual master. So similar. So it's how if I encounter myself honestly, how sincerely am I following Srila Prabhupada here? And this is so, it's like it's a chincha beta beta tata. There's a oneness and a difference. Srila Prabhupada is fully 100% present. 100%, not 99, not 99.9. He's 100% present to guide us and relate to us in the most personal way. Okay. And the same thing, how come we're honoring the disappearance day? So there's a sense in which he disappeared, and he's fully present. Both are true. Again, the pre-November 14th, 1977 Vapu has disappeared, and so there's a natural sadness. And my endeavor is like, okay, because Srila Prabhupada is fully present, and this purport is upon the disappearance. Those truly aspiring to be perfect, sincere followers, they endeavor to share the Acharya, to spread the mission. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, he reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in self. Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. So to what extent am I part of the life of transcendental knowledge, the part of the life of sharing Prabhupada and sharing Prabhupada's full living presence? And so so there's disappearance, and then of course there's he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die. The disappearance in that context, there's actually the past 46 years, a term that's become very popular is living guru, and another term that's become popular is living spiritual master. So what did Srila Prabhupada say about living guru and living spiritual master? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So if we look through all of Prabhupada's books, letters, conversations, lectures, legal documents, the number of times he uses the term living guru is 0. The number of times he uses the term living spiritual master, though, is 0. So the fact that those terms have been used millions of times since then should move us to thought. Maybe it's a paradigm that Prabhupada is not Prabhupada's paradigm. Maybe it's a paradigm that's not Prabhupada. One time in Seattle, a student of Prabhupada, he asked about the Christians. This transcript is available, the recordings are available. And they said, like, well, what do the Christians do? Because because they don't have a guru. And Prabhupada said, well, like, they have the Bible, they have Jesus. And then the disciples said, oh, no, we meant a living spiritual master. And it's almost like Prabhupada, like, huh? Like Prabhupada, like, couldn't relate to it. Like, what? And so Prabhupada, like, he almost like couldn't believe that term again, and that term has become like abundantly plentiful. just thousands and millions of times. So Prabhupada said, spiritual master means living. Because once you have, no, we mean a living spiritual master, rather than the dead, the dead kind. So just, spiritual master means living. So in his Vani and in various Vapu forms. So this purport, which moves me to look at, okay, where am I in my sincerity to approach that that standard that Prabhupada's giving us of the perfect disciple, and to what extent, in the name of Krishna consciousness, am I being one of those rogues and non-devotees? So we spoke just for a few minutes here on some key points that I see are vital, related to Srila Prabhupada's disappearance pastime. I'm glad to open it up now for anyone who would like to share anything related to this text, purport from the fourth canto, anything related to anything I expressed. And I'm glad for anyone, if you want to share kind of what's happening for you, any remembrances of Srila Prabhupada that are alive for you here on the anniversary of his auspicious disappearance day, if anyone would like to share at this time. That can be in person or online.
Hare Krishna.
Atmananda Prabhu. I'm going to turn you towards the group. Atmananda visiting from New Zealand. Atmananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Jai. So thank you very much, dear Govinda Prabhu, for your enlightening talk. Practically every time you speak, I get something new. So I'm a little bit envious of all you there in Alachua. Because you get it, you have actually online, I would be there with you much more often online, but the time difference is so extreme. I don't get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning for your morning program.
I'm hearing Atmananda, if we had more evening 6 p.m. programs, you'd join us a lot more.
I certainly would. And so all of you, I'll invite you all to consider that more. It's hard for me to speak today because, for one thing, when Prabhupada left, I was actually in Amsterdam and Holland, where I joined Prabhupada's army. And I was even less conscious than I am today. So there was I couldn't imagine how we could go on without Prabhupada. And it's taken me, I'm still understanding how it's possible. I'm becoming more and more aware of how it's possible. And what you said, dear Govinda Prabhu, at least in theory, I fully accept and believe. And to know that Prabhupada is there in his Murti, in fact, we're having our program this evening, which is about, well, we're starting in about 4 hours, because it's almost 1 p.m. here. We're actually in your future. We don't exist for you because we're in your future. We're Friday over here. So we have our Prabhupada Murti here at home, and we're taking him with us to our program this evening. So it's very enlivening for me to know that and I remember a long time ago hearing that the Acharya can bless you from his picture. So if it was just a photograph, or if it wasn't actually the Acharya, if it wasn't Prabhupada, then where's the question of blessing? So he made quite a few statements like that. And the verse that you chose for today, dear Govinda Prabhu, is one of my favorites. And I looked to the first line of the purport, because you were mentioning the word acharya being used almost as a title, dear Govinda.
Yeah.
But it's more than a title. It's a person who is being transcendental, one who is by his own example, not only being, but attracting and hypnotizing, charming us, this conditioned souls, to be with him in his world. And we experience that. I remember whenever I was in Prabhupada's, I don't know what term we're going to use now, dear Govinda, because you've put it as the pre-November 1977 Vapu form. So I'd like to find a term that I can use, a short term for that. So whenever I was with that form of Srila Prabhupada, there were many, many problems, but we didn't have any problem. I didn't experience any problems. That was the nature of the Vaikuntha bubble, I might call it, that Prabhupada created and carried with him and spread to all those around him. So that was my experience. And I remember at Bhaktivedanta Manor, Prabhupada would come to England almost every year for the big Ratha Yatra between Hyde Park and Trafalgar Square. And sometimes he even danced the whole way, even though his body was older than mine is now. And at the manor, one of those visits, Prabhupada was there staying at the manor, visited by George Harris and other important, so-called important people. And at that year, I think it was 74 or 5, where he had us install Radha Gokulananda, the Radha Krishna deities there in Watford, outside of London, at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And after Prabhupada personally performed the arti, ecstatic, and we had ecstatic kirtan, but better and better, more and more ecstatic. And then after Prabhupada finished the arti, he called us all into the deity room. And if you've ever been to Bhaktivedanta Manor or seen pictures of it, the deities, it's a very large deity room, and there's a place around the back of the deities by which you can circumambulate the deities within the deity room. So Prabhupada called us all in, and we were going around in circles, chanting and dancing around the deities inside the deity room, which isn't normal. You don't normally have other people in the deity room other than the Brahmins, Pujaris, initiated Brahmins and Pujaris. And I ended up standing in one. If you were facing the deities, I was in the far left-hand corner, and the other devotees were continuing around. Prabhupada came around one time, came to the front, and he looked at me, and he went like this. And I just started bouncing. I think I almost touched the ceiling. It was incredible. Just so I've had several other experiences. But in terms of the term acharya, this first line of the purport, Prabhupada says, whenever an acharya comes, following the superior orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative, he establishes the principles of religion as enunciated in Bhagavad Gita. So I was thinking, all right, well, that's what an acharya does. Now, who's done that in the recent history? Before Prabhupada, of course, it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. But Prabhupada, in the nearmost future, past, he did that. And there's so many other Vaishnavas on the planet, maybe pure devotees, even great preachers. But he's the one who established all over the world the principles of religion as it is, as they are. So if we want to know what an acharya is, then we can see by the results And all of you, all of us are here together, especially together on this day, because of Srila Prabhupada. For me, without Prabhupada, I have nothing. Your mercy is all that I'm made of. So, very special day for me. And of course, we know theoretically that there's, as Prabhupada explained himself, there's no difference whether he stays or goes. But for us, for the followers, it's a huge difference. And I'll stop there. Prabhupada, I'd like to share something, but I don't want to take, because many of you, probably all of you would like to say something. I don't know if you've seen this book. It's called A Shower of Divine Compassion. It's all of Prabhupada's poems, a collection of all of Prabhupada's poems, expressions of his devotion to Lord Krishna and his mission. And there's one section called Viraha Ashtashtaka, which Prabhupada wrote in 1958 for the disappearance day of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. And it's full of great expression of grief and desperation and hopelessness and loss. So if there's time, maybe we could like to share those verses with you. It's very, very moving. So thank you for that for now. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Atmananda Prabhu. Thanks for your sharing. Thanks for sharing your experience and realizations. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
What a cliffhanger. Are we going to get the poem or not?
Maybe.
Well, you decide. You'd like to hear it? Or should some others speak first?
Well, I'm very inspired by Yatmananda Prabhu, my old friend. This is Devin. I don't think I can get on the camera here, but
That's right. Hola.
thank you very much for your sharing. Feeling very enlivened by your sharing. And yeah, as Jay Govinda said, we're having some discussions about Prabhupada's full availability. And today I heard someone sharing about Prabhupada disappearance pastimes, and they said we asked Prabhupada, how will we communicate with you when you leave your body? I think this is a good time to discuss what Prabhupada said about how and one thing that I remember that was shared there is that Prabhupada was saying, I'll communicate with you in your dreams as Chaitya Guru. I don't have much realization about what that means, but I'm just sharing. That's one thing apparently Srila Prabhupada shared. And yeah, I have little experience with Srila Prabhupada coming to me in my dreams, responding to me in my dreams. And yeah, today was a mixed day for me, just in my personal sharing, because I was hearing a lot of through different mediums. I heard a lot of when Srila Prabhupada was here. And every time I heard that, it kind of hurt. And I felt like I felt like crying really. And I thought, this is really like what's the consciousness? Language reflects consciousness. I don't know the consciousness of this person, and I don't mean to assume, but every time I heard that phrase, and I heard it a lot today through different mediums, and I was like wondering what's the consciousness there, and so I thought, well, I could find myself easily speaking like that, just casually speaking like that, and with Dear Govinda's support about the Vapu form, I was just, I'm still in a lot of pondering and reflecting and considering, that the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. I'm not this body. So Srila Prabhupada, not his body. I'm not, but there's a form. He took a body. This is how his body appeared, And we're all eternal souls, so Srila Prabhupada is fully living, that's for sure.
Yes.
And then how will we communicate with him? I know sometimes it's like, well, spend some time with Srila Prabhupada in his books, right? For sure. So that's available as well. And then, but what about personal instruction? Well, there's many for sure are experiencing, and myself to some degrees, that I'm getting personal instruction. I'm receiving. I have very little experience, but I'm receiving personal answers to my questions. Like this, I'm getting perfect reciprocation to personal questions as I'm reading Srila Prabhupada's books.
Yes.
So that's my experience.
Thank you, Bhakti Devin. I'm inspired by your experience. Yes. Thanks for sharing. Enlivened to hear you're reading Prabhupada's books, and Srila Prabhupada several times says, you have questions, all the answers are in my books. Also, naturally, we ask questions to Prabhupada's representatives, and Prabhupada is personally present through his representatives, and he emphasized his books. And so so I'm just very enthused to hear your experience of your personal connection with Srila Prabhupada, and how Srila Prabhupada communicates with you, and you communicate with Srila Prabhupada. Thanks for sharing that. Hare Krishna.
I appreciate very much your point about how easy it is to slip into saying how it was, or what Prabhupada did. Or I like, and it's a good reminder for me, Devin, to always talk about Prabhupada in the present tense. I think that's very helpful for me as much as possible. Prabhupada is saying this, Prabhupada says this, instead of Prabhupada said or Prabhupada was. I know when I spoke before, I was saying how it was with Prabhupada, but I think I qualified that with the pre-November 1977 Bhakti form. But that's a good reminder. As much as possible, that I'll remember that this evening in our program to talk about Prabhupada, and ask everyone else to speak about Prabhupada in the present tense.
Thank you, Atmananda Prabhu. Would anyone else like to express, like to share?
Oh, there's so many things, usually short things. So yes, we should study Srila Prabhupada's books.
If you'd like to share your name. Just...
I am Vadiraj Das.
Hare Krishna.
100 times.
How did you meet Srila Prabhupada?
Oh, well, I joined in 1973 in Dominican Republic. And I didn't think I would travel to the United States until I met this person who I made a devotee. And interesting. I was resigned not to ever personally see Srila Prabhupada. I heard him. Morning walks, how he moves, how he drinks his water, his frowns. I was already accustomed to the idea that I will never see him, because first of all, I need a passport, a green card, and so on and so forth, money for there. That was very far. We were very poor. So I think fortunate enough that I resigned myself just to follow the spiritual master as the principal.
Yeah.
And not the body. Srila Prabhupada said the spiritual master is not the body, spiritual master is the principal. And
so you'd already determined in 1973, 50 years ago, that you have a full personal connection with Srila Prabhupada, and it's not about physical presence in the same room or even in the same country.
And I was looking forward a whole life.
Yeah.
Without that,
You were already planning that.
I had the connection. What I understood was that I had a connection by accepting and surrendering to his instructions. Yeah. That is the connection of the spiritual master. That question that devotees asked to the Prabhupada about the living spiritual master, and it was a bad question. And then the second person who said no, who thought that Srila Prabhupada had not understood the question.
Maybe he wasn't understanding clearly.
Right. So the Srila Prabhupada, it's like that other question of who is going to succeed you.
Yeah.
That's the same idea. Srila Prabhupada said the spiritual master, what the spiritual master said, that is living.
That is living, yeah.
So we understand that Srila Prabhupada is present in his instructions.
Yeah.
And it's about equivalencies. So what is equivalent to the physical presence of the spiritual master? His instructions. So this is what we will always have as a connection with his instructions, because sometimes the spiritual master is physically present, and sometimes the spiritual master is not. So, and also Srila Prabhupada pointed out, when the spiritual master disappears, his books should be considered his physical presence.
Yeah.
So we do have his physical presence, Vapu, if you may, in his books.
Yeah.
That he's not moving around. And also another point. Any questions, all the questions and all the answers are already there in my books.
Yeah.
If you think you have a non-question, don't even ask. All the questions that we need to know. These are not questions of how to build a Ford engine or a Chevy engine. It's about spiritual life. The spiritual master is not somebody who, just because he knows everything, of course, if Krishna wants him to know, he prepared him for that. It's about the connection. It's a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
So the spiritual master is the principle, not the body.
Thanks, and spiritual connection by definition means it's not dependent on anything physical, including bodily presence, even in the same universe. That's what spiritual means. And to not get that, as Bhakti Devin shared, it means we're missing Bhagavad Gita 101, the difference between spirit and matter. I appreciate how you said the books, of course, they're Vani and their physical presence. I grew up in Srila Prabhupada's movement in Israel, as Mother Rukmini well knows, and there we'd have the picture of the Panchatattva, and our deities. We had Prabhupada's books in Hebrew on the altar, and that they were the deities. They were the only deities that I knew for so many years.
I want to add something interesting. In Dominican Republic, we didn't have beads. We didn't have japa beads. We didn't have dhotis. We didn't have tilak. So what do? We bought plastic beads in the hardware store, or so where the women go shopping for making things, beads, and we made 108 beads. The men devotees, we wear sheets as devotees. It didn't look so good. It was very very puffy. You know, it's not like a devotee that folds itself right and shapes with your body. That tilak, at one point before Bhakta Carlos was able to bring something from New York, there were some months without it. I got some clay from a hill. I put water and it was clay. You know, it was reddish.
And it's also Krishna's earth.
Yes.
And you created tilak.
Right. So we manage, but the most important things is that we will transfer Krishna, Prabhupada, the deities, whatever was available. I mean, of course, you may say that this is also the most advanced stage. We were not so advanced, but we were practical because we didn't have something like, you know, Lord Chaitanya will be misguided to see a river as the Jamuna.
Yes.
But that's the level of Godhead. That's not our level. But what is that principle? Utility is the principle?
Yukta Vairagya, utility is the principle, yes.
Yeah, so we utilize everything in Krishna consciousness.
That's right. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hi.
Mother Melanie, would you like to lead us in the next part of the program?
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you.
So later on, we can continue to remember Srila Prabhupada, maybe stories that we have heard, past time of Srila Prabhupada that he has with us or others. And Srila Prabhupada left the planet around on November 14, 1977, around this time, around like, it's not very clear. Some people say 7:15, some people say 7:20, some people say 7:30.
Within a 15-minute range.
It's now. So what I would like to do is for us to chant around in unison. And as we do that, we want to go back to that room. And that room is where Srila Prabhupada has his eternal pastimes. He's still there. We can visit him in Vrindavan. To go back there and be in November 14, 1977, chanting on our beats with all our heart, pleading to Srila Prabhupada, remembering Srila Prabhupada, and allowing ourselves also to feel separation. Because even so, there is, like there is no difference between the presence of the Acharya and the absence of the Acharya, let's say. There is a difference. There is no difference and there is a difference. Like, Krishna is always present in Vrindavan. Krishna never left Vrindavan. And at the same time, Krishna did closed up his pastimes 5,000 years ago. And only those who are very fortunate get to still have the eyes to see them. So similarly with Srila Prabhupada, he closed his pastime. He had pastime, manifest pastimes that he closed in November 14, 1977. So I would like us to be there with him and chant a round in unison. And then at the end of the round, we are also going to hold silence because that's a moment we are going to see the departure of our great Acharya and spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and allowing him to depart and go to his next destination. Srila Prabhupada described that his pastime are also eternal. The pastime of the Lord are eternal. Srila Prabhupada's pastime are eternal. It's like a caravan. Sometimes, I don't know, there is not so many nomads in America, but people who live in other countries, they know nomads. In Europe also, we have nomads, and the nomads, they have a caravan and they pass by and they come, like that. So Srila Prabhupada right now, he is having his pastime of serving the fallen soul in a different universe, in a different country, so he is fully available. There's no difference between Srila Prabhupada, he was sometime in America and people were in Europe, so they were feeling separation. And now Srila Prabhupada, it's the same thing. He's still having his pastime manifested somewhere in the material universe. And it's just not in our continent. And that doesn't mean that he's not present in the material universe. He's somewhere. So that's what I invite all of us to do together, to chant around in unison in that consciousness of Srila Prabhupada laying down on his bed and completely conscious, completely aware, completely at choice about disappearing or deciding to put it down in the first time. Then you can, thank you. If you don't have your japa, you can.
We have lots of japa beads. We have lots of japa beads.
And then we will all silence at the end of the round, holding for that moment where Srila Prabhupada decided to close down. The doctors that were with Srila Prabhupada the days before and the weeks before, and even the months before Srila Prabhupada departed, they couldn't understand the presence of the soul in the body, because there was no body in the soul, it was only a spiritual body. And so Srila Prabhupada was fully at choice when to depart. And we can meditate on that too. So we can just chat around and listen. Everybody knows how to chant, so we can chant. And I'll give the best to our chanting that we are all together. And just close your eyes for a moment and take a few deep breaths. And some of you maybe have been to Srila Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan at the Krishna Balaram temple, and some of you may not. Just imagine a very simple, very bare and simple room where Srila Prabhupada was laying on the cot and then surrounded by all the devotees chanting Hare Krishna. And among those devotees, there is us with him as he decided to close his pastime. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada is closing the manifest pastime. A good opportunity to pray for us to connect with our spiritual desire. That Prabhupada is a friend of Krishna, always in connection with Krishna. And by serving His divine grace, we get to serve Krishna. Here we have an opportunity to express to Him our deepest desire, spiritual desire, and pray. Let's take a moment to intensively pray to Srila Prabhupada for Him to fulfill our desire of service. We are going to continue our meditation with a song by Narottam Das Thakur, the song of lamenting the departure of the devotees. And of course, we know no devotees depart ever, and at the same time, they depart. So we are going to sing a song. And as we sing the song, when at the time you can come, and there is some flower and you can offer the flower to Srila Prabhupada. Mini Prabhu, would you like to lead us in Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu?
A song sheet.
You don't want to flower?
Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your lordship within these three worlds?
Incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls that I assure you Yet you will not find the greatest fallen soul in me. Therefore, my claim is free.
My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy.
My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me.
O Swarup Damodar, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya, O six Goswamis, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. O Lokanath Goswami, my beloved spiritual master, Narottam Das, also prays for your mercy.
O Srinivasacharya, successor to the six Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottam Das always desires the company of Ramachandra Chakravarti.
Prabhupada. Prabhupada's disappeared.
With Zioning's association of Srila Prabhupada is another trust.
So we'll have, we're preparing to serve out prasad. We'll have some.
They are volunteer to serve Prashadam. We are going to serve Vaishnav as well. We are going to, everybody can sit in a circle and we are going to serve like that. Yeah, you can put away the table, it's an harmonium, and then you can serve. So when you want to serve,